Howdy, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Debauchery Circus Campaign here on the Random Rhapsody Network. I'm Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and GM, and joining me around the virtual table today are Brandie, Brie, John, Junior, and Steven. Say hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Matey.
Hey.
Howdy.
Okay. This week we are back with another random game night on Wednesday, December 15th. I'm doing my new content playthrough of Celasta, Crown of the Magister, which has been a lot of fun so far. I'll also be chatting with a random cast member while I play, so it's definitely going to be a good time. Next Monday, the 20th, we are going to be doing our regular schedule with the Debauchery Circus at 3 and the Fab 5 at 5 p.m. or at 7 p.m. But the following Monday, December 27th, we will be airing our holiday one-shot, 5 Nights of Darkness, starting at 4 p.m. You can stay up to date with our streaming schedule by following us on Facebook at Random Rhapsody TV and on Twitter as Random_Rhapsody. Okay, that should do it for the announcements. So join us as we dive into the world of Loroupa and continue on with the adventures of the Debauchery Circus. And we're back. So when we last left off, the Debauchery Circus had traveled to the lands once held by the Coltrast family in hopes of returning those stolen lands to their rightful ruler. Upon arriving in the town, the team couldn't help but notice the groups of undead patrolling the streets and the general fear the common people lived under every day. After taking rooms in the local inn, the squad decided to split up and explore in an effort to better get a lay of the land and to look for any weaknesses in the town's 2 walls. Ichabod, Shokan, and Edmund elected to recon the outer wooden wall around town, but they first stopped off at the Church of the Five so that Edmund could look for the priest his father had often spoke to him of. In the church, Ichabod found that he could not lie to a man of the cloth, and he persuaded the old dwarf to speak with them privately, so that Edmund could reveal who he actually was. The priest was both surprised and elated at the discovery that a member of the Coltrast family still lived, and he told the group that he believed the townspeople would rally behind Edmund and fight for their true ruler against Veritude. After summoning familiars, Blaznir, Cameron, and Willow set out to examine the upper town wall, the stone wall. But before they could make it very far past the inn, Blaznir called attention to himself by waving to one of the guards of one of the undead patrols. Tensions grew as both he and Cameron seemed to irritate the guards, but a little platinum changing hands tends to soften even the angriest of moods, and eventually the group was allowed to pass. Both groups spent the day exploring the town, observing both the walls and the guards' schedules, each of them considering their task at hand and how to approach it. As night slowly started to descend, both groups made their way back to the Crossed Axe Inn to discuss strategy over dinner. As they compared notes, the group realized that Mildred Valcon, the woman who had imprisoned the Debauchery Circus and tortured Edmund, was now living in Coltrast, in one of the mansions in the walled upper town. Furthermore, their old foe, Sir Portlion, resided in a mansion in the lower town, once owned by the late Baron's liegeman Cranor. This revelation seemed to inspire the crew, and new possibilities emerged for our heroes as they finished their meal in the mostly empty common room. And so, Debauchery Circus, your conversation dies down as the white-bearded innkeeper comes to your table to clear away your plates. Of the rest of the inn, only the couple in the corner seems to remain. The others had headed upstairs to their rooms some time ago. 10 rings of the bell inside the Church of the Five tells you all that the hour is getting late, well past the strict curfew that you've all heard is in place here in town. The innkeeper asked you all if you'd like something more to drink, but you also get the sense that he too wants to retire for the night. But before you can reply to the man, a question comes to each of your minds. And that question is, who is your biggest rival? And since Ichabod, you rolled, why don't you go ahead and start things off?
All right. So I don't think that Ichabod would say this, but I think knowing Ichabod's psyche, would say that it's his own father, because nothing he does is ever good enough for him. So he's kind of competing to get that approval.
I like it. Okay. Let's go counterclockwise today. And Shokan, how about you? Who's your biggest rival?
I feel like Shokan pretty much just kind of gets along with most people. Not many people get under her skin, but Sir Portlion definitely at this point in time would be the closest thing that I guess she would consider him a rival. Other than that, she doesn't really.
Well,
that
Sir Portlion, wasn't he like the first to knock Shokan unconscious?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like it. Okay, I like it. Willow, how about you? Who's your biggest rival?
That damn orc that knocked me out of the tournament.
Petty squabbles.
Petty. I mean, you could have said the Cerulean Syndicate, the Thieves Guild. You could have said your old the people who taught you to kill. But no, it's that orc that beat you in the tournament. I love it. That's great.
Yeah, this is a reveal of the character we're learning.
Definitely. Okay, Blaznir, how about you?
I would say it's someone that no one has seen yet, but it's one of my backstory characters, Tuck. He was with me or he traveled with me while I was in the little band, just that traveled around playing for whoever, and I'd say he's probably the only one I would consider a rival.
Okay, I dig it. You never know. Tuck's still out there, so
yeah.
Who knows what'll happen in the future? Okay, Cameron, you're last. Who's your biggest rival?
So I was thinking maybe about the guy from the Arcane Institute, but currently, if he had to be honest, Cameron would say that one of his best friends is Blaznir, but right now his biggest rival is Blaznir's personality.
Oh, what was that guy's name?
Yeah.
Considering that I won't necessarily say that we almost died because of what he did. I'm just saying that they could have potentially called more guards and more undead until eventually we were just overwhelmed.
Were you talking about Commander Lorient as the guy from the Arcanum?
Yeah.
Okay, because Blaznir was also.
Yeah, he was kind of
combine your hatred.
Okay, I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, then, Debauchery Circus. Your conversation, the innkeeper is fighting rather unsuccessfully at yawning, and he's asking, do any of you want anything more this evening? So, what are you wanting to do?
No, I think I'm quite ready to retire for this evening.
I'll take a bottle of whiskey from my room.
And
I'll pop my hand up for a second.
Yes, young lady. You there?
Willow, I wave my hand in her face. You good?
Yes, I was thinking of whiskey and got happy. I'll take a second.
2 bottles of whiskey. Well, and he kind of looks over at you, Ichabod, clearly the eldest at the table, and he's like, 2 bottles of whiskey, or is that right?
Let's just make it the one, and I'll give the little lady a glass.
I'm gonna cross my arms in frustration and pout my cheeks.
I don't give in. Just the one. That's right.
I'll take a bottle actually.
I sigh very loudly.
So, a bottle of whiskey is 2 gold pieces.
All right, pay 2 gold pieces.
Okay. You can each take 2 gold pieces off your character sheet, and the bartender goes back behind the bar, rummages around, and comes back with 2 slightly dusty bottles filled with amber liquid. The name is something in Dwarvish. You can call it whatever the hell you want. It doesn't really matter.
I immediately give it to Willow. Like just in front of everyone. I'm just like, here you go, Willow. I don't care.
The poor bartender's like,
I'm already walking away.
You're already walking away.
Yeah, I'm not going to be responsible.
So you remember that bit about his personality being my biggest rival?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The innkeeper, he's just kind of like shrugs.
I don't get paid enough for this shit.
Yeah, I don't. That's exactly it. He doesn't get paid enough for this shit, so he just shrugs his shoulders, takes the 6 gold or the 4 gold pieces, and wanders back behind the bar. Ichabod has already walked upstairs for the evening. He's just peaced out. What are the rest of you wanting to do?
I turned to Will. I was like, why is everybody like so just doesn't want to give you alcohol? That doesn't make sense to me.
They're jealous.
You're jealous. Oh, I see. Of what exactly?
My awesomeness. And I'm gonna take my bottle and go to my room.
I imagine her like a little kid, just kind of hugging it a little bit and skipping on down the
That is straight going to be my teddy bear tonight.
Ichabod feels like he's being impersonated. He's like, I feel like this child is like latching onto me in a weird way. So that's why he's like against it.
Edmund, in his dwarf form, just watches Willow walk off with hugging the bottle of whiskey, and he just kind of shakes his head a little bit and glances over to Shokan and he says, "We have some interesting companions, don't we?"
We are a circus.
Yes,
I don't really mind so much if she drinks. She's free to make her own choices, but living in the Feywilds teaches you to always be wary about accepting gifts.
But this isn't the Feywild.
And Shokan looks over Edward and is like, yes, they are definitely an interesting bunch. I found the more I wander, the more interesting they get.
By the way, Shokan, you're the one who has that weird glowing blue ball, right?
Oh, yeah. Wait. I think. Hold on. What is
Someone
it
has it, and
What is
The
it
dream
called?
seed.
The dream seed. I'm fairly
Although I
certain.
don't know that.
I think we passed it off last.
Did you? I don't remember getting passed off, but
I don't know.
I do not see it in my inventory.
It
I
should
know
be in
you-
the haversack.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Yeah,
you,
I mean, I would pass it off to.
You're taking
you
it
know,
out
we're
right
gonna
now
go
in the
examine
inn?
that.
Oh wait, hold on. No.
oh right,
No.
that's why we didn't give it up. Because it's in the middle. Everyone, all right.
Yeah.
Just kind of sneakily pass it off to
Well,
me when I'm.
I mean, I did.
Stop by my room and I can get it for you.
Your group saying this, huddling close to the table. You all glance over, and there in that corner to the far end, there is two women sitting at a table back here. They seem to be more heads together, talking amongst themselves. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Yes, I'm actually pretty good at perception, so I did not mean to roll with advantage, but that's a 12.
21.
Cameron, actually, Blaznir, your eyes are more down on your drink. You're trying to take glances backwards, but you can't really see them too well. Cameron, you're much more mindful of what your surroundings are, and you do notice that the one to the right, the one closer to you, glanced over at your table while Blaznir was talking about the orb, the seed.
Mm.
She kind of had one of those, what are these idiots yelling about expression on her face.
Mm. Okay. Do they look? What do they look like?
The two women are clothed in very simple brown blouses and skirts. They seem very dusty, as though they've been working underground all day. The one closest to you has dark brown hair, about shoulder length, just tied back very simply. The one to the right, or the one to the left, has very dark black hair, streaked with gray, and quite a bit of mud on her face as well.
Mm.
Anyway,
You're not gonna do anything.
What are you wanting to do? I mean, Ichabod and Willow are upstairs right now. I imagine you've both gone back to your rooms.
I'd like to be writing out the flyers because the illusory script is a spell, but what's going to be written on it, I imagine I have to write.
Yeah.
So I am in my room with a bunch of paper and ink, and I'm writing the flyers.
Yeah, I'm going. My intention was to go with Blaznir to peruse the dream seed once he gets that.
Okay.
I'm gonna I would have hushed him and be like, well, just stop by my room, and I'm gonna get up and start heading to my room.
you could also just kind of throw it into my room, but okay.
Okay, so Shokan, you're getting up right now and heading up to your room. Cameron and Blaznir, you're getting up to follow.
First I'm gonna just look at Cameron. Like, what do you think spells I should prepare for tomorrow? I know this has nothing to do with anything, but what are we doing tomorrow? In general, because I know we're not gonna do anything dangerous, but I have no context on what's happening tomorrow.
Read the messages.
You say that we're not doing anything dangerous tomorrow, but you forget about our evening activities.
Well, that was more towards noon, I believe, but I understand what you're meaning. I mean, I always have danger spells prepared, but I just don't know if I should be ultra prepared for stuff to come down on us hard, or if I should find more utility-based magic.
Not sure. I've never met the man. But it's another thing we can discuss.
Yeah, it's less important. I'm just... Have a lot of options.
Yes.
Anyway,
The two
weird
of you,
blue orb.
So the two of you start heading up to the upper level. Edmund seems to remain at the table. He just looks up at you and kind of gives you a nod as you all head out.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck. Don't drink too much. Headache in the morning. So
I won't, Blaznir. Don't worry.
okay.
I'm gonna sit here and finish my drink and think for a little bit.
All right. Just making sure because it really does not feel good.
I'll keep that
Let's
in
go.
mind.
Yep.
So anyway, Cameron, you and Blaznir head up. Ichabod, you're in your room working on your flyers. So I gave you all a handout that you could put on there. The display script, it looks like you've put on there.
Yeah.
Join us for a circus of delight and wonder, sanctioned by the king himself for your pleasure. The show begins at 1700 hours inside the big top in the town square. Admission is free.
It's free.
And the illusory script that you're going to be putting, what the actual is actually written on.
Yeah, I can read it if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
It says, I'm open to criticism. It says, this is a message to share only with those you trust. The heir of Coltras lives. The reign of the dead will end at first light. Fight if you are able. Take the gates. Evacuate your families. Allies will join your struggle from outside so that they aren't surprised when they see a bunch of orcs coming in.
You should probably put that it's orcs.
Well, I didn't want to share too much info because somebody is probably inevitably going to read this. So I tried to keep it vague. And then I added a proverb because I find that morale is higher if you, cater to their faith. So it says, if your thoughts reflect your heart, the mother gives her blessing. If your heart guides your hands, you have the father's favor. And then at the bottom is the symbol that Blaznir wants to put in the air. So that it's like implied that that's the symbol, but it doesn't explicitly say.
So is that going to the symbol at the bottom? Is that the Coltras family seal? Is that what you're going for? Or?
Is that what Blaznir had said? I just couldn't remember what he said.
That is what I said.
Okay. Then yeah.
If your heart guides your hands to your pants, you have the father's favor.
And another idea too, I just thought of, would we have time to get a message to the orcs to maybe put that symbol like on somewhere on their bodies to mark them as
I'm very pro sending a message to the orcs because we know a lot of info about this bottom area. So if we could write a letter saying, hey, the people are going to be evacuating, you can wear this symbol, and also here's what it looks like, like there's a big field out there, so they're going to know you're coming, but there's usually about 4 guards at each gate, and there's these gates, and, stuff like that.
Yeah, and then also, like I said, that would be a way, too, for the people getting out to easily identify the allies.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
Orcs. Orcs are still scary, even if,
Yeah, I really don't want there to be some confusion. So I'm very pro if you could send like your familiar, or if I think Blaznir said about doing like animal messenger. I think that's a great idea.
Sure, I think either one of those would be good.
Animal messenger does have a limit of 25 words, so
okay. Well, if you want to write up a letter, I can have Fidget drop it off.
Okay.
Blaznir, have you used your wild shapes today at all?
yes, I have.
Got it.
I believe I have. I had my familiar out.
Your familiar out.
I'm pretty sure I had it out for 4 hours. So
gotcha. You do also have the polymorph spell. I'll remind you.
I do have polymorph. That's like I don't have it prepared. Unless Cameron does, but
I do.
I think sending a letter with the
Okay.
That's because I would like to have it be off screen. I know we could talk to them, but like, yeah. If somebody
honestly, let's just go outside to the gates and talk to them.
Let's just run out to the woods and ourselves. No.
run there, realize we forgot something, run back, do that for the next 4 hours. It'd be great. It'd be great.
I mean, hey, go for it. It's your session.
No,
You can do whatever you want.
No.
No.
Moving on.
We write letters.
Time.
That's fine. Just write out in text in chat what it is, what letter you're going to send to them, so I know what information they have, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
But between that, Blaznir and Cameron, Ichabod is in his room working on the flyers. Cameron and Blaznir, you said you wanted to go check out the Dream Seed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Shokan, you said you're going to give that to them before you went off to bed, right?
Yeah, and refresh my memory. It's not a good idea to touch this one, right? Is this one of the things that...
No, this one you have touched and handled and used and fiddled around with before. It's not like the pulsing one that like hit everybody before.
Okay.
But I will say this. So you go over, I assume you go over to their room.
Yeah, I'd probably just meet him over there.
Okay. As you remove the Dream Seed from your haversack and lift it up, you specifically feel a pulse coming from the seed. It seems to you feel a ping, and that crystal that's inside your shell pings as well. And you feel it kind of echo back and forth among them, almost like a pair of heartbeats. Boom, 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 boom. Cameron.
Yes.
You also have a gem in your ear.
Yep.
Almost like an earring.
Yep.
And as you watch as Shokan lift the seed out. The crystal in your ear begins to pulse as well. Everyone sees the light begin to shine, first in the seed, glowing from the center outward, then in the shell, in Shokan's shell, and then in your ear. And the three just radiate one off another. Pum, pum, pum. Pum, pum, pum. Pum, pum, pum. And as the three lights begin to harmonize, one right after another, and begin to glow and fade in the same instance, you feel, and she feels, another ping. Distant, far off, somewhere to the south of your current location. The pulse kind of continues, and you feel somewhere out there in the distance, your ping, that ping, your ping, that ping, radiating back and forth.
Pick my ear a little bit.
You guys okay? You're kind of staring off into space.
Now, with the understanding that we don't have a whole lot of context, can we tell, like, does it almost feel like this is, like, really, really far away? Or can we kind of...
It's hard to judge spatial distances, because it's like, imagine you're feeling your heartbeat. You feel that pump in your chest. It kind of feels like that, just that little throb in the place on your shell and in your ear, Cameron. But then in the distance, you feel a reflection of that.
We can at least tell it's not from our own party members, though, right?
Correct. It's somewhere distant,
further away than that.
Far away, like the pulses that you're feeling that are harmonized between the two of you and the seed. Mm-hmm. You can feel it strong, like it's right there. The feeling somewhere to the south of you is distant, far away, barely there, but it's there. You can feel that ping, that echo somewhere beyond.
Yeah.
You kind of think to yourselves for a second, holy shit, this is weird. And you return the seed to the haversack once again, Shokan. And as the haversack closes around it, that pulsing begins to go away and fade slowly, until you no longer feel the distant ping first. And eventually your ear and her shell, the light fades away as well. And then nothing's there.
A most unusual feeling.
Is everything okay?
I mean, you saw the pulsation.
I saw it glow, but there's also a glowing
and
orb.
Items upon our bodies.
I saw that, yes. You look more frazzled than... Like, you seem more frazzled than if it was just a glowing on your bodies. It seems like there's something else.
There was an echoing pulse from somewhere further out. Perhaps someone else impacted as we are with these things, I say, as I vaguely point in the direction of my earring. That's not an earring.
And Shokan's kind of deep in thought. And she remembers only, there's 2 people that have those that she knows of still alive.
Who might they be?
Quarintine and Shadowfire.
Quarintine, she left, like, really quickly.
I know nothing about Shadowfire apart from what you've told me, something about him running off with no warning.
Honestly, like, it seems like either your friends die or run away from you. That's very sad, I'm so sorry.
Cameron. Everyone, actually. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Sure.
Oh. You said everyone, right?
Natural 20 for a 25.
Everyone in that current room. So Shokan, Cameron, Blaznir.
Alright, I'm gonna guide myself. So, that's 16.
Okay. All 3 of you are able to see this.
Horrible.
Steven, Cameron, where do you keep that object that you had taken out of your master's device that when you were in his room?
Probably in my coat, someplace where it's not as easy to just be randomly, pickpocketed or something.
Okay. All 3 of you notice that there is a slight glow coming from the inside of Cameron's coat. You kind of pull back your coat and look, and you pull out that strange crystalline shape piece of metal with different shades of metal, the brass, the copper, the ox
the
steel.
one that makes the machine work.
Uh-huh. There is a glow coming from it, very similar to the way when it glowed when you put that object into the machine. It's faint. It's not like a heavy glow, but it is slightly glowing.
Does anything happen if I touch it?
No, you pick it up, you lift it out. It's glowing a little bit faintly in your hand. Fainter. But it seemed to react to the crystal when you pulled that out.
This is all very strange.
Yes, the machinations of time are a mystery I have long attempted to unravel. It is
time stuff.
It is even what led my master to leave. Did I tell you why he left?
You probably told me a little bit. I don't have the greatest memory. That it feels like a month ago.
He is a dragonborn, but unlike me, he does not necessarily believe in ensuring the safety of things when doing research. He, like me, is a student of time, and he believes that owing to his draconic nature, if he were to somehow gain a greater mastery of time magic, that he could age himself to be a true dragon, as it were.
That is certain. I don't know how that would work. But
Yes, I'm not sure if the logic exactly connects, though. I do admit that he is a brilliant magic user, and generally his opinion on things is that they always call you crazy right up until the moment that you prove that you're right.
Unless you're still, because you can still be crazy even though like you're right. He's like, well, now you're crazy for a different reason because half the populace is dead.
Yes, quite so.
Sounds like something Liam knows a lot about. Goose 1137 is in chat. He's saying, "Hey, I'm late. Has Blaznir pissed off any more guards yet?"
Give it a bit. Come on.
Yeah, he hasn't had
I'm
the
not a miracle
opportunity
worker.
yet.
Stop cursing us. Stop cursing us.
We gotta run into some guards first.
I mean, I can go outside, just raving around my coat if that's what you want.
But I did decide that his personality was my greatest rival, even though he may be my best friend right now. So there's that.
But anyway, yeah, I have no clue how a dragonborn can turn into. There are like polymorph spell, like. Like I know there's like my polymorph can't do it, but I've heard of like greater polymorph spells that might be able to do it.
Yes, I think he means as something permanent.
I mean, it's permanent if they don't know it. You've been polymorphed, so
Fair, but you get my meaning.
Yes, I understand. It's just it seems like an odd one, but I'm also not a dragonborn, so
Yes.
I put on circus shows for a living. I don't deal with time because that seems like not the greatest.
It is quite dangerous. All I can say is that I know the Feywild can change you in many ways, so who am I to dismiss his theories that a dragonborn can become a dragon?
Fair enough. I think the Feywild is more of a memory loss, but I've only know what I've been taught about the Feywild, which is honestly not much. I didn't have a Fey portal in my Druid Grove, I don't believe.
I can always take you sometime if you'd like. But for now, we should prepare for our current mission.
Yes. So I'm guessing it's no go on the Dream Seed because
you can pull it out again. It's just in Shokan's bag right now.
Well, it seems like freaky, and I don't know if you guys still think it's a good idea. Like I didn't feel whatever you felt, so like I think it's a good idea still that it could help out something. But if you guys don't think it's a good idea, then I'll just do it. I'll go by
make like a history or an arcana check, see if I've heard anything about it in my studies or
I'll guide you.
What are you trying to ascertain, Cameron?
Just see if in my studies of time, it's obviously something related to time, if I've ever heard anything similar or if I've ever read anything in any of the books that I've studied.
Just thinking to myself,
Probably not.
Without making your roll, I'm just going to say, yeah, probably not.
That's fine.
This is something that actually hasn't, or at least the dream seed itself is something that has not been studied by the.
That's fair. What about something different? So obviously there was a connection between us because we had the gems embedded in our bodies and the dream seed. Would there be a way to use that connection in conjunction with some kind of spell to contact whatever entity it was that was making that other pulse?
Trying to think about that. That's an interesting question.
Yes.
I'm gonna allow you to attempt it.
Cool.
You're gonna have to bring out the dream seed again, because to attempt that sort of thing. But so basically, what I'm getting from you is that you're going to attempt to attune yourself to the dream seed and attempt to try to contact or feel more of whatever that pulse that you were feeling was.
Yeah, like either directly with the dream seed, or if I have like just a way to like use the connection there to enhance some kind of communication spell to be able to contact them.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to say that, yeah, I will allow you to make an Arcana check to try to sit. You're basically what you're doing is you're going to be sitting down and attempting to attune yourself to the dream seed. So you're going to have it on sitting on your lap, focusing on it the same way you would be any other magical item to attune to it. From there, you're going to attempt to use that to do whatever there is. So what we're going to do. We're just going to do an Arcana check. Blaznir says he's going to be guiding you throughout this. So basically, the two of you are just going to be spending the next hour of the day of the evening working together to try to help him attune to this thing. Okay.
Shokan.
Yes, and would he be able to get advantage? Like, would I be able to assist him in any way since I can feel it too? Is there a way like I could kind of...
What I was actually going to ask is if you don't have anything to do, I would like you to be here in the room with us with a singular specific goal, which is if something seems like it's starting to go wrong, get the dream seed away from us and like do whatever is necessary to stop whatever's happening, even if it means you have to smack me around a little.
I will say, if you guys felt it in our pulse, that whoever has that whatever orb, whatever, might be able to feel it as well, and might be like, oh, maybe I should go over there. And,
perhaps.
But I do have my suspicions on who it is, just...
Oh, I'm sure we all do. I have no context with it, but
yeah, you as a character don't. Yeah,
but to ride the roller coaster.
Yeah. Anyway, but can he have advantage since
because you're specifically watching them and making sure, waiting to stop them in case anything happens. You're not helping them. You're protecting them. So you cannot give them advantage.
That's what I was asking. She doesn't have to do it if she doesn't want to, but
she can do one or the other. She can be there ready to interfere if anything happens. Because honestly, I can't think of a way that just being there is going to help in this circumstance. Yeah. You don't know anything about the arcane. You're not a magic user, and he's trying to attune himself to it. I don't know how somebody could help someone else attune to a thing.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Then you can just be ready to kick our asses in case something goes wrong.
No, it's not a bad idea. And if you were another magic user, I'd say yeah, probably if you're going to use that time doing that. But since you're not a magic user, you don't have proficiency in Arcana, you would not be able to help.
Would I be able to help while guiding using
No, you can do one or the other.
Because it's just a spell, so I was helping in at the last minute to cast guidance.
It takes an hour to attune to something. You're going to be helping him by casting guidance throughout this process. So you can do one or the other. You can.
Would you like to be a bit more intelligent, or have a little bit of guidance on this? Because I can do either, and I can do I can cast enhance ability on you and help Shokan.
What does that actually do for me?
Enhance ability will give you advantage on intelligence checks.
Sure.
Or I can sit here and constantly just kind of pump magic into you.
I mean, since it's a single check, advantage would probably be better than a D4.
Alright. I will cast enhance ability. Use Fox Cunning, I believe it is. Yes. I'll cast Fox Cunning on you.
Cool. Alright, hold on to your butts.
Well, this is gonna
That's a dirty 20 for Arcana.
So for an hour, with Blaznir and Cameron, with Cameron focusing on the Dream Seed, Blaznir assisting him with his magical ability to enhance abilities, and Shokan warily watching, quarterstaff in hand, for any sign that something's going wrong. Cameron begins to focus on the Dream Seed. Your attention goes inward, feeling along the seed, beginning to understand its nature, its connection with nature. This is an object pure, as pure of nature as anything possibly can be. And yet, at the same time, it exists both within time and outside of time. It's almost as if it doesn't exist at all, and yet it does, because it's sitting in your lap as you sit cross-legged on this bed. You feel yourself begin to I don't want to say attune yourself, but you begin to feel that connection. You feel the pulse coming from the object, growing brighter and brighter as the crystal in your ear and the crystal in Shokan's shell equalize once again. And over that hour process, as you're attuning yourself to the seed, you begin to understand a little bit the nature of this seed thing. How magic cast through it that are based within the realm of nature are more potent. For out-of-game purposes, you can re-roll ones. When attuned to this object, you can cast nature-based magic, and you can re-roll ones.
Interesting.
So,
nice.
So it can be used as a divine spell focus.
Okay.
Once you're attuned to it, and you begin focusing on that pulse somewhere in the distance, and you can feel it almost as though, imagine you have your hand on another person's chest, feeling their heartbeat. You can feel yours. You can feel theirs. You can feel yours. You can feel theirs. They're not perfectly in sync because two people are very different. But you feel that pulse, 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 as you're focusing on it. Shokan, you watch as Cameron's eyes begin to glaze, and they roll up in his skull as his mind begins to reach out, trying to focus heavier on that outward pulse somewhere in the distance. It's far, but it's not as far as you're expecting it to be. Maybe a few miles away at most. You begin feeling it, and at first, it's just a single point. But that point seems to grow outward, down, long, farther and farther away as it grows. It's almost like a path, but you realize it's not a path. It's a root, a series of roots, expanding outward farther and farther and farther away to the southeast, up along a shaft, and your eyes begin to glow and change blue, and your mind shifts. You see time stretched out around you, spreading, an orb, twisting, rotating, orbiting, a glow somewhere in the distance. You feel warmth, you feel cold. This orb, as it rotates, as it orbits, begins to crack, begins to split. A sprout springs outward, the orb almost like a seed. And as it splits, the shoot begins to grow upward, taller, leaves begin to spread, branches begin to form. And as the roots begin to spread farther and farther, the seed itself cracks away, floating in the distance, as nothing but a tree remains. Your eyes shift back once again, and you're in your room, looking down at the seed. But that vision that you've seen so many times before is playing out in your head once again. And you can feel where that point, that echo, once again pulsing. And you pulse, and it pulses, and you pulse. As you realize you're once again back with your friends.
That was interesting.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
A tree that chokes the world.
A tree.
Yes.
Trees usually help breathe life into the world. You're gonna have to be a bit more explanatory.
A tree that grows beyond all reason, whose roots encircle the world.
That doesn't sound plausible. Is that what you saw? You're being very
I try and
serious, I guess.
describe to them what I saw as best I can.
I mean, it was cryptic. What do you
But I
know?
figure it's definitely like it's sort of like, well, I wouldn't actually know this because I've never actually been high, but I kind of imagine it like trying to describe something to someone that you saw while you were like high or in a dream or something.
Alright, I'm gonna roll an insight check to see if I understand anything you said.
No,
18, alright.
when he mentions tree, we have a book or something that has a tree emblem on it, correct?
Well, you did at one point, but you...
Fontaine had it.
Yeah.
I don't know if she took it
Fontaine
with her.
knows the secrets of the universe. Oh, I definitely took it with me.
Oh,
Definitely.
she
Wait.
definitely did with her.
100%.
Okay, I have a gold medallion in my thing. Was that? I feel like we've had a couple things
Yeah,
that
yeah,
had
you-
the tree.
You have had a few things with the tree on it, and you are able to reach into your haversack and pull it out, and there is that gold medallion that you had found on a leather thong that has
Thong.
not that kind of thong, children,
I know.
but a leather string. Since we're all two, but yeah, it's a gold medallion imprinted with. Have you ever seen like those Celtic Tree of Life
Yes.
depictions? It looks sort of like that, but
Yggdrasil.
a little bit like Yggdrasil, but also not. It's there are definitely, you can see, Cameron, or you Stephen can see the similarities. Yeah.
Yes.
I show him that and ask him if this is the tree that he saw.
And, I mean, like I said, it is one of those Celtic knot-looking trees with roots spreading all over the place and winding around, and gigantic branches reaching out into the heavens in that very runic style.
Imagine a piece of candy in the palm of your hand. And then the tree that is your hand and fingers closes around it. Not just encircling it, but crushing the very existence out of it.
That sounds spooky and yeah, that sounds spooky a lot.
On the plus side, if you wished to endanger your mind, this particular seed seems to empower spells of the divine, spells of nature, and can be used to cast them. Though, considering we are going up against foes who have somehow managed to add the power of nature to their necromancy, I would be loath to think what would happen if they were to get their hands upon it.
You think I could, do I have a spell that controls plants?
As a druid, yeah, you should.
Would I be able to control, use control, do that to the zombies out there? What would that do?
You have to test it out in battle.
As another D&D stream out there likes to say, you can certainly try.
I would advise doing it
first
in a situation that is already combative and not merely one with a guard walking by.
What if there's just a zombie walking around?
They would probably still have some sort of connection to the caster that could be felt. I assume that they would probably be able to know when their spell has ceased to allow them to control the undead, at which point they would come seeking information about what had happened.
I could speak with plants. That'd be weird.
Anyways, if Blaznir potentially gained anything from his 18 insight check, you can let him know. Otherwise, let's let the other players do something.
Yeah, what was the insight check for? I kind of forgot.
So, if I understood anything that he was saying,
yeah, if he being very understood any of my ramblings.
I mean, you rolled an 18 insight, so I'd say, yeah, you understood what he was trying to convey pretty well.
All right.
So, while that was happening, about this time, Ichabod, you've been working on the flyers, just sitting there handwriting these things out for Cameron to come later and cast his spell on.
I'm ambidextrous, so I'm writing
working on that bottle of booze as well, I bet.
Yeah, sipping that whiskey.
Yeah, it's been sipping that whiskey. Willow, what have you been up to?
I'm not drinking my whiskey. I have not opened my whiskey, but I'm going to bed so I can wake up at dawn. I want to wake up before everyone else does.
Holding it like a teddy bear.
Damn straight.
Fair enough.
Nothing's more cuddly than Jack.
What about that guy from the tequila, the most interesting man in the world?
Nope.
He might be
not
cuddly.
No. Whiskey, best thing in nature.
That's the only thing.
So, while that's going on, and Willow's in bed, cuddled up with an unopened bottle of whiskey, whatever, Ichabod, there is a knock at your door.
Oh, dear. All right, I stand up, put my hand on my whip, and I slowly open the door.
And on the other side is Edmund, standing there in his dwarven form, bright blonde beard, long blonde hair.
Oh, it's you.
I just wanted to let you know that the two women at the bar, they are in the table. They sat there for a while, another half an hour or so, and then they came upstairs to bed. I waited around in the common room for a little bit. Nobody else came in, so I'm heading to bed as well.
All right. Well, good keeping out, young Edmund. I kind of awkwardly give him a pat on the arm. Like I wasn't sure why he reported to me. I appreciate it.
Just figured I'd let someone know.
Because you're the most sane out of all of us.
Kinda, yeah. Kinda.
Well, I appreciate it. Listen, Edmund, how are you feeling about all this?
Apprehensive, nervous, excited, all these things at once. It's strange to be back in my home. I honestly thought I would never see Coltrast again, and the priest saying the people would support me is a weight off my mind, to be sure.
Yeah, well, you're definitely going through a bit of a change. Now you're going to have to be the leader of the Coltrast family. But while you're here, I might as well give you something. I want to give him one of those platinum rings that I bought.
Okay.
And I say, Edmund, I presume, like I said before, that this Veritude already knows that you're alive and are coming to take your spot. So I'm thinking once he finds out we're here, he's going to want to do away with you first. I'm not going to let that happen. So if that comes up, this will allow me to cast a spell that will hopefully protect you.
Well, thank you very much, Ichabod. I appreciate it.
You know, I appreciate what Ichabod is doing, but it's... As a player, I'm going, stop saying that! Like, Edmund Coltrast, how are you doing?
I don't know what to call. I'm going to start calling you Edward. Is that fine? Edward sounds like a dwarf name. I don't know.
Edward or just Ed is fine too.
All right.
Like in the span of like 2 minutes, you say his name like 3 or 4 times and mention the Coltrast family, and I'm like, maybe nobody else is awake.
We're whispering outside my door.
I sure hope no one is curious enough to scry on us.
What should I put in his inventory? Just platinum ring?
Yeah, I would put platinum ring.
Okay.
Because it said 2 platinum rings worth 50 gold pieces. Yeah. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Good night, Ed.
Good night, Ichabod. Thank you. And he heads off to his own bedroom.
All right.
Which I honestly don't remember which one was his, but I'm going to put it
I get back on my grind. Right. I'm going to write 100 flyers.
Yeah. So throughout the night, you're writing 100 freaking flyers, which does take the better part of a few hours.
But I'm ambidextrous, so I'm writing 2 at a time.
Because that's totally how ambidextrous works.
That is, I can write with my left and my right.
At the same time?
Maybe if you had the 2-weapon fighting feat.
I have 2-weapon fighting feat, and I have it as a fighting style, so...
I'll allow it. I honestly don't care. I'm just teasing.
There are videos of people drawing 2 different drawings at the same
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying it's not possible.
I only say that because I have the 2-weapon fighting feat, is I feel like I'm pretty good with both my weapons. I might be able to write with both hands.
You know what? Absolutely. If you can wield a sword and a whip at the same time, you can write 2 flyers at once. I dig it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So with that, with Willow snuggling with her whiskey, Ichabod working long hours of the night into the night, writing flyers and writing a letter. Cameron, Blaznir, I assume Shokan, I assume the 3 of you head to bed. Is there anything else you're wanting to do before you go to sleep?
If I'm given the dream seed, and I just kind of want to look at it and try to, because it's like really bulky as well. So I'm trying to figure out the best thing to do with it if I have it.
It does kind of suck. to use it as a spell focus, you can do it. You have to attune to it, so it takes one of your attunement slots. You will have to hold it to cast spells through it. So just keep that in mind. But it is something you can use.
How much does it weigh? About?
It's not super heavy, honestly. It's probably maybe a pound and a half. It's fairly light considering the entire thing looks like one giant crystal sphere.
Could I attune to it and have Kaihen hold it?
No, you have to hold it.
Okay.
Just remember the bit about not letting the enemy get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do
Nothing's gonna go
something
wrong.
stupid. It's me. Come on.
But there you go. There's the dream seed.
Wow, that's pretty.
It is pretty. That makes me want to use it even more. All right.
Hongshu.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take an hour to attune to it and deattune to my swarming insects staff.
Wait, do you have 3 slots filled?
I do.
Oh, damn.
2 stabs in my masquerade tattoo.
Ah, fair.
And Shokan's gonna head to bed if since we're all done.
So you said you're getting rid of which staff, Blaznir?
Swarming insects.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just have that on my back, I guess.
Now you also had the letter to the orcs. When were you planning on sending that out? That night or in the morning?
Whenever she gives it to me, I guess.
I walk out of my room at 12:30 p.m.
we don't have to take too long on this. Just go ahead and read what information you're sending the orcs.
Oh, you want me to? Okay, I can read it. Let me go back. Letter to orcs. I said, the citizens of Coltress will be evacuating when you arrive, and some will stay to aid in the battle. Put this symbol on your banners or armor to show that you are allies. And then it has the symbol. You can identify the guards by their dark green cloaks. They are fair game, along with any undead you will find. Lower District has 3 gates with 4 guards. Clearing outside will give them sight of you, so they'll have time to prepare. In the lower city, there are 8 ogre zombies, each with a couple zombies and guards. The inner city is said to house a large army of zombies, which may be released in the streets. The horn will signal your attack. Fight hard.
Okay, I like it. And you give that to Fidget, and I assume?
Yes, assuming that she doesn't catch me while I'm sleeping.
Oh, I'm sure she catches you right as you're going out of that room, and it's been an interesting evening. And Ichabod hands you the letter and tells you to send that to the orcs. You can give it to Fidget, which the thing probably weighs as much as Fidget does, but it's magic. Who gives a fuck?
Yep.
Picks it up, goes flying it off to the orcs, and with a strict order to bring it to the Red Tusk Orc leader and come back again. Which a hummingbird could do in a night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why not. Anyway, you all wake up the next morning feeling refreshed. You've all had a long rest. You can prepare the spells you want to prepare, and the day is yours. So, Debauchery Circus, what are you wanting to do?
I should prepare. God.
All right. Wake up bright and early. So, on the list for today, I guess I bring the big stack of flyers with me downstairs.
Yeah, that reminds me. So, the flyers themselves, I assume you have to give them to Cameron he has to enchant them from there, right? Like, how does the illusory script spell work?
Yeah, so he has to
pop it into chat.
Yeah, he has to enchant them from there. So he'll probably spend some time this morning doing that.
Okay. Let's see. You write on parchment paper or some other suitable writing material and imbue it with a potent illusion that lasts for the duration, which is 10 days. Long time.
Mm-hmm.
To you and any creatures you designate when you cast the spell, the writing appears normal, written in your hand, and conveys whatever meaning you intend to when you wrote the text. To all others, the writing appears as if written in an unknown or magical script that is unintelligible. Alternately, you can cause the writing to appear entirely different message, written in a different language, blah, blah, blah. So, basically, yeah, to do 100 flyers, which I think is what you said, it'd take you 100 minutes, or a little over an hour and a half.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I'll say we do about 80 of them, and then we leave 20 of them with no message in case a guard comes up and says, like, hey, can I get one of those? And then you can give them just a normal flyer.
sure, absolutely. Okay.
So 80 with the illusory, 20 without.
I dig it. So Cameron spends his morning doing that. Doesn't take too long, like I said, less than 2 hours. So the rest of you, what are your plans for the day beyond that?
I'm going to deliver these to the church. Well, some of them.
Okay, you're going to take some of them to the church?
Yeah.
I'll probably just help pass some out.
I'll take 40.
I'm putting my bottle of whiskey in my bag, and then I'm going to check out the shops.
Yeah. Be like, all right, everybody. So to everybody take a few flyers, pass these out, or put them in relevant spaces. And then we should also... I'll say that this is us all talking together. If there's nobody around, I'll lean in real close because I don't want to be, Also, we should probably scout out that mansion if we're planning on, making a move.
Sure.
I'll do it.
I can help with that.
I will go with that as well.
And
I'll probably stay away because I'll know that he's likely to recognize me.
yeah, you should probably stay far away from that. And then this, according to these flyers, the circus is at 1700 hours tonight. So
Night.
make sure you've got your your act prepared. And then I think, yeah, some people should go scout. We should take these flyers out, and then we should start setting up.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to dispose for that then.
All right. So, how are we thinking we're gonna break this up?
Well, I'll go with Shokan, because even in dwarven form, I'd rather not Sir Portlion see me.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's wise.
Yes, that is.
Willow and I can scout the mansion.
Yeah, you two scout, and then we'll all reconvene. Let's say about 1,300 hours, 1,400 hours to start setting up the circus. Does that sound fair?
I do have a question.
Sure.
What do those times mean?
So 1,300 hours is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So like when the sun is like right at this angle, I make a little clock with my arms.
You know what, Cameron? You're good with time. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll get you there on
I
time.
like to think so.
Well, I mean, I would assume so, considering that's your whole shtick.
That's why I made the joke.
Yes, that's. But like some people can have a shtick and not be very good at it. So.
All right, and break.
Who's talking to guards?
Yeah,
Okay.
no talking to guards today. Totally.
None, not at all.
If a guard asks you for a flyer, give him one of these ones. And I show him the pile of regular flyers.
Okay.
You know what? I'll carry the regular flyers because I think I'm the most likely to accidentally talk to a guard. So
I tell Blaznir and them, I'll meet you guys at the castle. I need to make a pit stop, and I want to go to the shops real quick on my way out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Edmund and I will pass out flyers together.
This is 2 times.
Okay.
Unless Edmund wants to do anything else, I'd go along with him too.
No, Edmund's going to stick with you. The two of you will put out flyers and paste them in different areas in town.
Hand some out to some people, maybe give a little preview.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Ichabod will head to the Church of the Five. Cameron and Willow are going, or Cameron and Blaznir are going over to the Sir Portlion's mansion. That's
yep.
And Willow is heading to the shops. Okay, sounds good. Well, I think this is a great place to take a break. We'll take a quick one and get back here, and we'll start off with that stuff. So
All right.
stay tuned, everybody. We will be back in about 10 minutes. Howdy, everybody. We are back. When we last left off, the Debauchery Circus had taken a long rest and decided to split the party up to accomplish a few goals. Blaznir, Cameron, and Willow are heading to scout out the mansion currently possessed by Sir Portlion. Shokan and Edmund are going out to hand out flyers. The two of them already headed out the door and into the city. They're beginning to paste flyers first around the square that they are currently at with the inn, and then farther out from there. Ichabod, you're heading over to the Temple of the Five. So let's go ahead and start off with you.
All right.
You do know that the Temple of the Five is in the Market District, not very far from your current location. You'd been there once before, so flyers in hand, you head out into the narrow streets, past the dark gray stone buildings, to what you eventually find the oblong-shaped structure of the temple. Entering the temple, you see no one at first. It's completely empty. It's about 10:30-ish in the morning or so, and no one is oddly enough around. Make a perception check.
Sure. It's a big 8.
Big 8.
I'll use my inspiration that I always forget about.
Sure, go for it.
That's a 5. I'm not about seeing things today. I'm really in my mind, in my emotional state.
Yeah, you really are. You walk in and you're just kind of looking around, walking back and forth through the pews and whatnot. Nobody's there. All the candles are unlit. It is completely quiet.
I would like to go to the room that we had spoken to him in, up here.
Okay. You walk up to the door. It is closed. You knock a couple times. Yes, hold on. I'll be there in a moment. You hear a call from the other side of the door. And eventually the door opens to find the elderly dwarf, bald, with short-cropped round beard, and that crown, that Jean-Luc Picard crown of white hair along the sides and back of his head. My son!
Hello, Father. Sorry I couldn't get these to you last night, but I've got them for you bright and early this morning.
You produce the flyers, and as he's taking them, he says, "Well, yes, I spoke with several members of the community last night. I spent the evening going to the town leaders, the blacksmith, those who I think would be amenable to," and then he kind of looks around, he kind of looks past you, and he says, "a mutual friend."
And what did you find?
The men believe they could rouse many to support you. If you tell us the time to rise up, we will start sending out our women folk, our young children, while the men themselves are willing to rise up and fight with you.
this is great news. You'll see, I gesture to the papers. I've included some of those instructions on this magical script. So what you're reading here will be what civilians see, while there's another message that everybody else will see. It tells you to attack at this signal. I think it's going to go down tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Yeah. Well, I suppose I can get these out to as many people as I can and spread the word. The patrols throughout town will be challenges, but there are many who I believe will stand and fight with you, with what we can.
And don't worry, you won't be fighting entirely alone. We do have allies that will join you. So tell the people not to be afraid.
Is there any place we should meet you all? Or should we just take out whatever gods we can find and go from there to reclaim the city? I'd say
the most important first thing is to clear the gates. So I would go after the gates, take care of the guards there, so that way you're able to send out anyone who needs to be evacuated and send them out safely. Second, I would go after those patrols and then work your way in. We're going to be starting in the inside and working our way out.
Very well. I will spread the word and await the signal. Lord Coltrast's seal. It will be a wonderful thing to see that once again.
I think it will. I smile at him. Can I make I know I had a nat 20 insight check the last time, but can I make another insight check? I just want to read this guy and see how genuine he's being.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and make an insight check.
I'm not good at anything today. 11.
It's hard. He's hard to read. You can see he seems pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? He seems
genuine.
God. Yeah, genuine. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. He seems very genuine in his desire to help Edmund. He seems very, very much passionate about the idea of reclaiming his town.
And I trusted him a lot last night too. So remembering that, I think I kind of put any doubt out of my mind, and I go, Father, there's one more thing I wanted to ask of you.
What is it, my son?
This is more of a personal nature, but I was hoping that you would hear confession for me.
Oh, yes, of course, my son. I would be happy to. Please follow me to, and he leads you over to the main altar where the book of the five gods resides. He walks over to it, places a veil over his face, draping it down over so you can't see his face. And he opens up the book and places a hand down upon it, and he says, "Whenever you are ready, my son."
Well, Father, I fear that I have been sinning, and I fear that I may continue to do so. You see, I've held resentment in my heart against my wife. You see, she took something from me, something very special. That is our two sons, and I have not been able to see them for some time. And I have learned that they may be pretty close by. And as I get closer to actually seeing her again, I was thinking, I don't know what I'm going to say.
The priest kind of sits there and thinks a little bit. You see underneath his veil, he kind of strokes his beard a little bit thoughtfully, and he says, "The sins committed against those we love are often the most difficult for ourselves to forgive as well. When you love someone, you find the passion that's within yourself expressed in ways you don't always expect. and sometimes you come to regret those things later in life. Be steadfast. Show her the love of the father to the mother. Show her that you care and that you understand her side of things. And you will find new insight and new redemption in these acts of contrition to those who you know you have wronged.
But how am I supposed to forgive her sins too, Father? Isn't there a little bit on both sides?
There's always an effort that must come from both for reconciliation to be made whole. But when those who recognize those things should always be the one to extend the olive branch first. Wouldn't you agree, my son?
I kind of nod gravely. I understand. Thank you, Father. It's a difficult thing, apologizing.
And then he kind of says, three are fathers and two acts of contrition, and your sins may be forgiven. Go with the love of the Father, my son.
Thank you. And then I walk out.
And Matt's done his first confession in almost 20 years, so
I feel clean. There's a lightness in my step, but also I'm still bitter.
Probably. And while the wise words of the priest do ring true, it's always hard to accept those things you don't want to. Paths take a lot of different steps, and that first step is always the most challenging. But you do make your way out of the church once again, secure in the knowledge that the priest seems to be willing to help, at least.
I think I'm going to head towards the Portlion mansion when I'm finished here.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, at the Portlion mansion, let's see, who was that? Blaznir, Cameron, and Willow. Blaznir and Cameron, you've kind of been making your way, following the directions that Edmund had given you all before you left. Willow, you said you're kind of keeping to yourself a little bit and not pretending to not be a part of their group. Is that about right?
Yeah. As we're going, I want to have the bottle of whiskey in my hand and act like I'm drinking it, but I'm really pouring it all over me, so I smell drunk.
Okay. Drunk, 4-foot-tall blonde chick, walking around, splashing, pretending to drink. It's just dribbling down the front of her clothes a little bit. Are you wearing your armor right now, Willow?
I am not.
Okay. So while that's going on, and she's kind of pretending to stumble a little bit, Blaznir, Cameron, your passive perceptions would notice that.
What is she? I just kind of like do a confused look in her direction, just like her. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
I don't. She's too far away, so I'm not going to yell at her.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Eventually, following the directions, you make your way about maybe two or three blocks away from the gate to the upper city. You see the taller 2.5-story building that Edmund had described. It's a wide gray stone building, much similar to the rest of the architecture that you've seen throughout the city. The defining feature is, while most of the buildings you see have streets or alleyways by it, not much more than that, this actually has a very lush green garden all around this mansion. A stone wall about 8 feet tall, encircles most of the plot of land that this building stands on. It is open completely in front. Towards the back, you all kind of walk and just circle around for about a block or so, just in a slow circuit. You see that the wall itself goes around the entirety, except for about 20 feet in the front of the mansion. There is a iron barred gate in the back. Glancing through the back, you can see that there is a guard positioned directly in front of the back entrance to the mansion, which actually I'll move your token so you can kind of see this from the other side as well. Towards the back, you can see that the mansion is tall, but there is a bit of an indentation with a back door. There is a guard posted directly in front of that. There are 2 guards into the front of the mansion, positioned one at the outer gate and one at the door to the mansion itself. Let's see here. There is one guard that patrols the grounds itself, walking in a very slow circuit. You count about 30 minutes it takes to go from completely around from one side to the other. So it starts in one place. 30 minutes later, it makes its way back to that position. One guard walking around the grounds. One guard guarding the back door to the mansion. One guard positioned at the front door of the mansion. And one at the front gate. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Are there any cracks in the door at all? The top and bottom of the door.
A little bit of one, at the threshold.
Yeah.
You're looking at the door themselves. The front door is a double door. Dark wood, trimmed with iron, with an iron lock at the front. It is a double door. The back door is a single iron door.
Is that gap big enough for maybe a spider to crawl into, or is it just really small?
Make a perception check.
Making perception. All right, guidance. I am rolling horrible today. 15.
Okay, 15. You're looking. You've all made several circuits by this point, and Ichabod, I'd say by this point you've made it to the mansion as well. Okay, which I'm gonna go ahead and add you in. Can you see now? Ichabod, do you have vision now?
Sorry, I was muted. No, I can't. I can't see.
There you go. You should be able to now.
Yep, I can see. Thank you.
And Shokan, I'm giving you vision as well, even though you're technically not there.
Okay.
Staring at a black screen is kind of boring.
Yeah. But anyway, Ichabod eventually rejoins the rest of your group. You're questioning the door, Ichabod, or Blaznir.
Yeah.
The back door itself, the back door looks like there's probably enough of a gap that a spider or a fly could get through into the mansion.
Right. Hey, I'm gonna see Ichabod over and kind of turn to people who actually are, coming up into group. And it's like, so, I was thinking, since walking around this place doesn't really give us much intel, I could turn into a spider and see what is happening inside the mansion.
Do your best.
I am surprised and grateful that you guys have nothing to say about that. Okay.
Just don't talk to any guards while you're in there.
I walk up and I go, well, howdy.
You're walking up to one of the guards?
No, to my group of friends.
Oh.
Well, howdy.
I'm gonna shoo Blaznir off before Ichabod can say anything bad about this plan.
I kind of just dust my face with ash, cast Pass Without Trace on myself, and spider.
Okay, so I imagine your group kind of circled around to the back.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what y'all are doing right now?
Sure.
Sounds like it.
I want to stay, a bit back, away from everyone, or be ahead of everyone.
Are you wanting to
gonna...
remain in the front of the mansion or the back of the mansion?
I want to be around the side of it or the back area.
The side of it towards the back?
Yeah, up here.
So how about right there?
Looks perfect.
Okay. Ichabod, Blaznir, or Cameron, where are you two wanting to be while Ichabod's walking up? Blaznir, Cameron, were you with Blaznir, or were you staying towards the front?
That's why I was shooing him away to do his plan as Ichabod came up before Ichabod could tell him about any potential holes in the plan.
Got it. Okay.
Ichabod is blissfully unaware.
So Ichabod, you are walking up towards the group right there.
Mm-hmm.
Blaznir just disappears as he's approaching, as you're approaching, and you can see Cameron standing there with Willow down at the far corner.
Alright, I walk up to Cameron since Blaznir has vanished, and I have a very forced smile on my face, and I say, well, hello there. I trust you guys aren't getting into any trouble.
I am not getting into any trouble.
That's great. That's what I love to hear. Don't tell me anything else.
Well, Blaznir, you have... I'm not going to put a spider token out there. There's no point. But go ahead and give me... I don't even know what a spider's dexterity would be.
I have the stat sheet pulled up for a spider. It has a stealth of +4, and I also have Pass Without Trace on.
Okay.
+14.
So go ahead and roll a d20 and add a +14. But feel free to move your token throughout the map and tell me where you're heading, and I'll tell you what you're seeing.
Just gonna go over there. I don't know how far I can make it, but I got 25 for stealth.
Okay. So, you go skittering off down the cobblestone towards the mansion itself. Towards that iron door that you've seen. And it does take you a few minutes because you're tiny, you're a spider.
Yeah, I only have... I have 20 feet speed, apparently.
But you wiggle and move underneath the door, and you can see the interior of this building is... You find a small room with a few large crates to one side, hooks along one wall with a coat hanging off one and a coat off another, and a pair of boots laying on the ground covered in mud.
So it's a mud room.
Mm.
Seems quite boring. How many doors are in the room?
There are, besides the one you just came from, there are 3 doors to the room. One to the west, to the east, and to the south of your current position.
All right. Do they have gaps big enough for me?
Yes, all the doors do have a bit of a gap underneath that a spider could very easily go through. So you can make it through any door without having to worry about that. So which direction are you wanting to head? West, east, or south?
I'll go south, and I'm gonna try to stay on the walls and ceilings if I can, while I'm in the rooms, just so it's a little bit, it's someone's not looking at the floor.
So you climb down, you go down the wall, skitter under the door, climb back up along the wall onto the ceiling.
Yep, I'll stay on the ceiling, so because people don't usually look up.
Okay. The room to the south appears to be a large entryway. You see two suits of ornamental armor in front of a door leading to the north, a long red carpet going north to south between two doors, a couple benches, a couple tables and chairs. This appears to be an entryway, or basically a meeting place for other areas. There is 5 doors in this room, one directly to the north, one to the northeast that you just came through, one directly to the east, one directly to the south, and one directly to the west.
I'm
going to let everybody see through Blaznir's eyes right now, so that you all can see kind of what he's doing.
Right.
There you go.
Cool.
That room connects to the room I was just in. Might be interesting, might be boring. Now go through the leftmost door, I guess. That one.
To the west? Okay.
Yeah.
Moving into the western door, you find yourself into a small room with a weapons rack along one side. You see a shield, a long sword, and a mace hanging off of it.
Any of those seem more interesting than others, or?
From what you can tell, just looking at it, they just appear to be regular weapons. Steel, obviously, but other than that,
yeah,
unremarkable. There is a door going further to the west.
Well, I'll head on.
Okay. Going through that door, you find yourself in a large room with a stone statue of a woman, naked, with a urn in her arm, holding it almost like a baby. There's a set of stairs circling around, winding along the wall, heading upward.
It sounds like a god statue, honestly, so I'm very uninterested in that, so I'll climb up the steps.
Okay. Going to the second room, or second floor.
Go into the car wash.
You reach the top of the second story. You find a landing with a single door heading to the east. As you walk through that, you find a long hallway, about 10 feet wide, that goes off to the east for about 45 feet before it makes a sharp turn to the left. There is a door on the southern side of the wall right here, and to the northern side right here.
I'll kind of poke my head, I guess my entire body, because I don't really have much of a head, but I'll poke myself into both the rooms just to see if anything interesting in there.
Sure, absolutely. The room to the south appears to be a bedroom. Single bed with a chest of drawers, a desk, and a couple bookshelves, along with a couple a table and a nice easy chair. There is a door leading to the east, and when you poke your head through there, you find a lavatory, a bathroom.
There is a lazy boy.
But there is a lazy boy.
I just now realized I probably should be marking this stuff down.
I'm drawing a map.
Okay. I was about to do it as well.
The room to the north, in that same hallway, you find another bedroom. This one, a little bit more elaborate than the previous one. There are actually tapestries on the walls. A very large bureau chest, a bookshelf, another chest of drawers, and a desk are in this room. A very large and ornate fireplace with a fire roaring quite nicely, nice warm in this room. There is a table with a candelabra and a rapier on top of it. There are two doors, both of them into the west, which when you walk into them, one is another bathroom with a large stone tub, and the other is a closet with a couple racks of weapons, a table in the back with a mirror on it, and a wooden chest fortified with iron.
Best. You said there's weapons in here as well and stuff?
Yeah, there's some sparring weapons in there. You know, some wooden swords, some blunted edge swords, things like that. There's a long sword and a great sword as well. There's a very large ornate shield hanging from it as well. This is much more it looks almost ceremonial in nature. There are 5 big stars emblazoned on the front in gold. The backdrop is black, like that dark black. But the stars and the edges are gilded in gold.
Sorry, I half distracted right now. Alright. Just drawn out a very loose map of this place. It's not very accurate to anything, but yeah, you can't really do anything much as a spider, so I'll press on.
Okay.
Down the hallway.
Okay. Making your way down the hallway, there is a door to the east, and then looking downward, the hallway tees off, going to your left and to the right. There is a door right there to the north, and you can kind of see one over here as well.
You can kind of see one where?
Right here.
Just move up actually to see the entire hallway.
Okay, so looking down the hallway, the hallway itself is pretty much the same thing you've seen of the same stone as the rest of this building. There are some portraits on the wall as well, art, landscapes, pictures of battle, that sort of thing, every so often along the walls. There are doors here to the south, one to the north, one directly next to you to the north, one right there, one right there, one right there, one right there, and a bench at the end.
Hope Brie's map is better than the one I drew. Okay, Bloodblade, that's a lot of options. I guess I'll systematically go from right side to the left side, just look in all the rooms, poke my head in.
Which, as a spider, you very easily can. You enter the room down here to the southeast, and you find a beautiful sitting room. All of the walls are completely encased in glass along the outer edge, and you can look out to see the outside of the mansion from here. It's a little bit of a garden room. There are 2 large potted features of plants. There are smaller potted plants all throughout the room. 4 tall marble columns, or not marble, stone columns in the center hold up a very large domed glass ceiling as well. There are 4 couches, and in the center of a rug there is a table with a lantern. You walk down...
Just a lantern on it?
Yeah, just a single lantern. Nothing else. The lantern is not lit. You walk down to the glass windows and climb up on it and kind of look out. And you look down onto the lower front level of the mansion. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Perception check. And I think this is still with my perception, so...
Yes, it would be.
12. I am really bad at perception today.
Yeah. It's hard to make out, but you do see 2 heads peeking around the open gate to the front, and a man and a woman. The man is wearing a green cloak, seem to be walking up to the door of the mansion.
To enter the place?
Yeah, it looks like it. The guard that is manning the front door walks up to them, and he seems to be talking to them for a moment. They nod to each other. They seem to be talking for a few moments, and then the guard turns around and opens the door and lets them in.
I'm going to try to skitter down there as fast as possible, so I can eavesdrop.
Okay.
Yeah, what about us outside? Can we have walked around or something? Because I imagine you're not just hanging out by this back door.
Yeah, this has been probably about 30 minutes or so that he's been wandering about. So while that's happening, what were Cameron, Ichabod, and Willow, what were the 3 of you doing?
Hanging out, smoking, being the bad boys of high school.
So I don't want to seem too suspicious. So if we could walk around to the front and then have like a place that's reasonable to be hanging out there, just to be keeping an eye on it.
This is a residential district. Besides this mansion, there are several other houses and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. You could easily just kind of duck into an alleyway and keep an eye on that front or the back. Like, I don't have multiple houses on this map.
Yeah.
But
sure.
But imagine there are plenty of other houses and streets and alleyways that you could be hiding behind.
Would you say that the houses are at least nicer, or is this one like way out of bounds for everything else that's around it?
It's definitely more on the out of bounds side of what else is around here. Like most of the buildings that you've encountered have been 1 to 2 story structures. This is a little bit bigger than that. No other building in this area has a big walled off garden the way this one does. It's like, imagine one of the houses in the ritzy district of Clayton being in the middle of the city around Tower Grove. They look kind of similar, but you can definitely tell the difference between the wealthy big yard and the places that are side by side by side.
I think I understand, though I hate to say your references to the real world mean nothing to me.
I say to Cameron, well, I presume that Blaznir has done something, and perhaps we should just keep an eye out for when he hopefully returns. So I'm gonna go hang out by the front gate if you want to keep an eye on this rear area. I feel like that would be fine. And then I walk.
Certainly keep an eye on the rear area.
I roll my eyes and walk away before he says anything else. And then I go out.
Ichabod walk away.
He watches my rear area.
Yeah, he does.
All right.
Okay.
I feel uncomfortable. I go out to the front, and then I'm just gonna kind of like I don't want to be like I'm super hiding, but yeah, I'll hang out in an alley and lean against a wall, and then if anybody kind of looks at me weird, I'll just talk to them about the circus and how it's tonight. And you should come to it.
There are people walking the streets, but it's in the middle of the afternoon. It's like a little after 11 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So most people are either at their jobs or going to their jobs. Not a lot of people pay a whole lot of attention to you, Ichabod. Like I've described before, the motif of everyone's very downcast eyes, focused on what they're doing, kind of ignoring everybody else. The guards themselves, go ahead and make a insight check.
16.
You get the sense that watching the guards as they've made their rounds, that this is a matter of routine for them, to the point that they don't seem to be more paying attention. Their eyes are not on the swivel. They're more of this is my daily grind. I got to get through it kind of vibe.
Well, that's good. I note that the guards' morale is not high.
Now, you do notice about a half an hour after Blaznir had disappeared that a woman, accompanied by a man, is walking down towards the mansion. Go ahead and make perception checks, both of you.
Sure.
Willow, what were you doing, by the way?
Sir, I didn't want to interrupt. When I get up to the first guard, I'm gonna actually go like stumble towards the guard.
Oh no.
I got a 12.
So hold on a second. Are you doing that while this woman is walking up towards the mansion? When were you doing that?
I was gonna do it like the moment, like when I was making my round. The first time I saw like the guards area was when I was wanting to do that. Words are hard.
So when you first walked up to the mansion, that's when you were wanting to...
Like, I wanted to do one sweep around and then go towards the guard.
Okay, so this is actually happening while Ichabod and Cameron had been setting themselves up, looking for an alleyway to go to. So you're just drunkenly walking up towards one of the guards?
Yeah.
There is a guard that was guarding that front entryway, the gateway from around the wall. He kind of just mostly leans up against the inner edge of it and watches people as they walk by. He seems definitely bored. This is a spearman. He has a spear kind of in the crook of his arm. Now, Willow goes wandering up, drunkenly, stumbling towards that gate. And as you do, you see the guard kind of peek up a little bit as he sees you stumbling towards him, and he steps up between the road and the mansion as you're approaching. So what are you doing here?
Jimmy! Jimmy, come out and talk to me! Have you seen Jimmy?
I'm having a hard time hearing what you're saying, honestly.
Okay. Yes, I'm doing it perfect.
Okay. Is that what you're trying to go for?
Yeah. I'm shit-faced drunk. You can't tell what the fuck I'm saying. I'm just screaming, basically, and moaning.
Why?
Okay. As you come stumbling up here, mumbling incoherently in a drunken sort of way, go ahead and make a bluff check.
Question. Do I get advantage since I'm covered in whiskey smell?
Sure, I'll allow it.
So you want deception then?
Yeah, deception check. Bluff is 3rd edition.
17.
Okay. One second here.
I'm college white girl drunk right now.
White girl wasted.
Yes.
Whoa.
I just can't fathom what I'm seeing. I'm very confused.
You're probably
I can't react because I'm just so Star Trek at why you would do this.
Oh, sorry. That wasn't the spearman. That's an archer. My mistake. That's an archer, not the spearman. But anyway,
no.
That don't matter. So
I guess you have to re-roll.
No, he just has a bow, not a spear. I described him with a spear. That's the only thing. Anyway, you go stumbling up, drunkenly, slovenly, stumbling towards him, mumbling incoherently, and this guard is just like, "What the fuck is this?" And as you stumble towards him, he just kind of shoves you, pushes you back, because he just smells the whiskey all over your body, and he's just like this fucking weird-ass drunk comes stumbling up towards him. He's just shoving you as hard as he can away from him.
Strength check.
Yeah, so that's a strength check. But she rolled an 11 to push you away. So this is basically an opposed grapple check, so I need you to make a strength check as well.
I want to purposely fail.
That's fine. That's fine. You purposely fail. This guard comes walking up to you, seeing you drunkenly, slovenly, stuttering all over yourself, and he just shoves you, and you go tumbling downward, landing in a heap on the ground. He then pulls out his bow and smacks you on the back, saying, "Get out of here! We don't need any drunks around the mansion."
I'm going to cry. I'm screaming. Like Peter Griffin, he's holding his shin. I'm just holding where I fell down and just screaming, crying.
Why are you drawing so much attention? All right.
Yeah, that's a good question. Why are you doing so much attention? But while this is going on, your group does see there is a man and a woman walking down the road towards the mansion.
I'm still in my hidey spot. I don't want to be involved with this. I don't want to be seen in any proximity around this person.
Okay, I mean, you're screaming in the middle of the road. This guard is just hitting you with the edge of his bow, using it like a switch. Yelling at you, "Get the hell out of here! Get out of here!"
Help, help! I'm being oppressed. Come see the violence inherent in the system.
Yeah, kinda. Take 6 points of damage from just being whipped with a bow.
This really is just unfathomable. What are you doing? I see no point to this. Please.
I'm trying to see how many. That way we see how many guards are out there, because I was hoping they would actually call people out.
You do see the guard at the door is coming to walk up now near his partner. The guard that had been walking around the side of the building is making his way towards the commotion at this point. He's probably about halfway around the building over here now. This guard, what is this guy here? He's the spearman. He comes walking up with his spear. His spear's down. He's like, "What's going on over here?" And the bowman is like, "This fucking drunk just came walking up here, wanting to come near the mansion. He won't leave." And you're like, "What the fuck is this?" And he comes up with the spear and prods you, Willow, with the end of the spear. Like, "Get out of here before we take you down and arrest you."
Wow, that sounds like such a good idea.
What are
Might
you
want to
trying
get out of there.
What are you trying to do here, Willow?
I'll start crawling away, still just crying, screaming.
Are you heading towards like there's two directions on this road. It goes east and west. Which direction are you going?
I will go west.
West. Okay.
I have a quick question. You said like the man and woman is just now walking up to the gate, right?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting Willow to say she wanted to do that.
Well, I meant like while Will is doing this. Like I'm asking if I'm on the window watching this happens.
I'd say yeah. You are on the Willow. You are on the window when this happened.
Lovely, lovely.
And you're seeing this whole thing.
That's all I need.
I think that Willow just really needs help, like psychological help.
Yeah.
Probably.
So the spearman at this point is like pushing the spear tip into you, Willow, a little bit, like not hard, but he's getting kind of frustrated because you're just crawling, crying, and you're dragging it along in the dirt and the grime of the road. This woman and this man is starting to walk towards you, and they stop about halfway between the two of you, like half the distance there, and the guard just calls out, "What is all this?" And the one prodding you said, "Some fucking drunk." And they stab you, Willow, with the spear, like a little bit harder. It goes through your robes and pierces your ass, because I mean,
I'm being a pain in the ass.
what?
I'm being a pain in the ass.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, again, that's a 17. That does hit.
Yeah.
4 points of piercing damage is you just get you feel the point of the spear pierce your hide and goes right into the bone of your butt.
We'll behave. I'll speed up a little bit. Just still crying. Why would you do that to a little kid?
Yeah, and the spearman is just prodding you along, trying to get you away from the mansion. Like, this is a whole process, but it's definitely occupied everybody's attention. Like, even another guard has made his way out around the gate and is heading towards the two of you, like just making sure this drunk is getting away. Cameron and Ichabod, you're just have been hiding out in some of these alleyways, watching this whole thing. Like, what the fuck is going on?
They lay to rest Willow, who was brought low by a multitude of ass piercings.
Yeah, a 16, I assume, is probably going to hit too.
Oh my god.
8 more points of piercing damage, trying to get you to hurry the fuck up.
I'm trying to stay focused. So I noticed that these characters, well, they were kind of preoccupied and had to stop for a while. Can I just take a good hard look at them?
You absolutely can. Go ahead and make perception checks, both of you.
I would like to perceive. 21! I perceive.
9, I do not.
So Ichabod, from your hiding place, you're getting a close look at these two individuals. One of them is wearing the green cloaks and armor of the mercenary force, the soldiers that work here.
The guard.
The woman herself has dark red hair. She's wearing a green dress, form-fitting and to her slim frame, but that trails down long, and she has to hold it up with both hands to keep it out of the dirt, revealing very soft green slippers underneath. She seems to be wearing an amulet around her neck and has several rings on each finger, you can tell with your 21 perception. you hear with the 21. You can also hear her say, "Yes, I'm here to speak to Portlion. He is expecting me." The guard nods in reply and escorts the two of them over to the door.
Before they go through the gate, I would like to just come out of my hiding place and walk by as though I am just a normal person. But maybe I will tip my hat to the lady to get her to look at me so I can look at her amulet.
Go ahead and make a deception check as you're walking down the street towards the gate.
Alright, deception check.
When she shows up to the door, does the guard ask for her name? Or
he does not. The only thing he says when she identifies... Well, actually, you wouldn't have heard anyway, Cameron.
No, I just figured Ichabod might have.
Ichabod might have... the guard
himself... I want to walk by before they go inside the gate.
Yeah, as you're walking by with a 23 deception, you walk down towards the gate, tip your hat towards them. You see the woman look towards you. The amulet itself is gold with an onyx gem in the center. You notice with your 21 perception, I'm not going to make you roll again, that there is gold filigree in the onyx gem in the center, depicting a tree.
Okay, I take note of what this amulet looks like.
Without making you roll anything else, her eyes seem to linger on you as you're walking by. You with that, the Church of the Five cloak around your shoulders, your hat.
And also, I'm incredibly handsome.
And you are a deep stud muffin. So you're confident. Why her eyes linger on you as you walk by and you nod and tip your hat. And she does give a quizzical sort of look, but nods in return, and then returns her attention to the guard. She does not identify herself. She just simply said, "I'm here to see Portlion. He is expecting me." The guard says, "Yes, of course, my lady. Yes, of course. Allow me to get the door for you." And he hurries over to the door and opens it. Blaznir, by this time, you have scurried down the stairs and made it into the entryway with the carpet.
I'm just kind of wait there to see if they hopefully come through.
From the door to the east, you see it open, and a short old man with big tufts of white hair on either side of his head. Think like Doc Brown a little bit, but with big horn-rimmed glasses, comes waddling through the door. He's kind of chubby, kind of portly. He's dressed in a very fine but emblemless suit. You get the idea that he is the butler. He is coming running out as fast as his pudgy little feet can carry him, and as he does, the doorway to the south opens. You see the woman and her guard stepping through the door, just in time for the little man to say, "Ah, my lady, welcome! I was not expecting you here so early." And they kind of exchange pleasantries for a few minutes. Blaznir, he compliments her on her dress. She seems kind of annoyed and says, and tells him to take me to Portlion quickly. The man bows very graciously and leads her back through the door he had come through, here to the east. I imagine you're kind of on the ceiling or something, looking down, watching this whole process. You skitter along, following them, and the group makes their way through another sitting room, filled with flowers and a very large fountain in the center of the room. There are four benches around the fountain, and the fountain itself seems to be glowing a little bit at the top, with water kind of cascading down over a pillar that rises up from the center of the pool.
Right.
Through there, you go through a door leading to the north into a library. There are several more benches, shelves of books lining all of the walls. There's a door that goes to the east and to the west, and it is at that door to the east that the pudgy butler walks up and knocks on the door. You hear a voice call out, "You may enter." The butler opens the door, says, "Yes, my Lady Valcon wishes to see you." And Portlion says, Yes, I was expecting her. Show her right in." The man walks out. Mildred Valcon, who obviously this is who it is, walks into the room. And they close the door, leaving the guard and the butler behind.
I'm gonna try to follow with Valcon
Okay, you skitter
over her head.
Yeah, you skitter to the door, climb down the door and under it. Let's see here. Go ahead and make another stealth check for me, Blaznir.
All right. 24. I'm guessing Pass Without Trace is still on.
How long does Pass Without a Trace last?
An hour?
An hour? Then yeah. Yeah, you still have it on you right now. It's coming up to the end of that time, I believe, but you do still have it. You probably got maybe 20 minutes or so left. They both rolled 19s, which was really freaking high. I'm not gonna lie, but that 24, the spider skitters along under the door unheeded. As you enter the room, you find a very nice-looking office. There are windows to the north, to the south, to the east on each of the walls, looking out into the garden. There is a couple bookshelves. There is a shelf filled with strange pots, most of them clay pots with corks on them, along one wall. A desk with a rug, a couple chairs, sits in the center of it, and to one side you see a man in a very elaborate looking get-up. Coat, breeches, all in black, embroidered with gold along the cuffs and the legs. You see a man with a bald head cleanly shaved, but a thick beard that has been well oiled and styled to come to a point in the center of his face. Handsome in a arrogant sort of way. A knight. You have never seen this man before, but you've also never seen the woman before. But you've heard descriptions of a bald knight with a well-oiled beard before. And judging that it is Portlion's mansion, you guess that's probably him.
And you said I can just tell that he's most likely arrogant.
Oh yeah, he has that arrogant sneer on his face. You get the idea that he's definitely one of those types that look down his nose at pretty much everybody.
Okay, I keep a mental note of that. Because, yeah.
Portlion is saying, "Mildred, it's so wonderful to see you again. What do I owe the pleasure of this visit?" Mildred just kind of scowls at him, and she says, "Are you sure that no one has scrying on us or watching us right now, and just in a very snide kind of way. And Portlion says, "How could they? My mansion is well protected. There's nobody here looking for us. Why?"
I love irony.
It feels good though.
Mildred kind of just sniffs and says, she sniffs and she says, "I'll leave that to my own God, I'm having a mind fart day where I have a whole sentence in my head and then I lose
and then it goes away.
Yeah, a word goes away and I just get stuck on it. Anyway, as you Blaznir, you kind of crawl along the ceiling down to one of the bookshelves and lay on the top watching this. Mildred kind of turns around for a moment and you almost think she's looking directly at you. Instead, her eyes seem to go to one side of the room. And a small green orb comes into view, apparating out of nowhere. 4 tall stalks spring up out from the center of this dark green mass with eyes, yellow, sickly-looking eyes at the end of each stalk. A wide, odd, kind of derpy-looking mouth fills up the lower half of the face that you know has one gigantic eye in the center of. This little thing is maybe about the size of a basketball in total. And it's just sitting there floating along a little ways behind Valkan. The thing is turning a little bit, just hovering there. And Mildred turns back to Portlion saying, "My gazer will keep us safe. I suppose you heard about what happened last night?" Portlion replies, "Heard? Of course I heard. That's the only thing Master Veritude would talk about. The moment I woke up, he was in my head, whining and crying about whatever happened down there. There was a pulse. So what? There was supposed to be a pulse. We've been extracting the root for nearly a year now. It's bound time for it to be affecting something." The two of them seem to begin arguing amongst themselves. Her saying there was more meaning to what had happened than a fool like him would suspect. Him kind of brushing her off a little bit. How long are you planning on sticking around there, Blaznir?
I can stick around for 8 hours.
So while that's going on, what are the rest of y'all doing?
So if he's really actually going to stay that long, I'm going to say after we're supposed to be meeting up somewhere at a certain time. So once it gets around that time, I'm going to go get our wagons and bring them to the town square and start setting up this circus.
Willow, eventually you get maybe about a block and a half away from the mansion. And that's about the time that the spearman stops stabbing you over and over again.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go to meet up in town square.
What is your AC when you don't wear armor?
Let me take off my armor real quick. Where are you? Yes, I got 12.
It is exactly 12? Okay.
See.
So over the course of that, one time he stabs you again, 9 more points of piercing damage. Another time he stabs at you again, but you just kind of stumble or pretend to stumble and drop, and the blade misses. But that third time, you are stabbed one last time for 9 more points of piercing. So you took 18 more total by the time he decides to leave you alone with a final kick in the ass before walking back towards the mansion. He does pass you at some point, Ichabod, as you're walking, because you had been walking past as well, and he just kind of gives you a glowering look like, what, are you going to be irritating me today too? Before walking past.
Yeah, I look away. And just keep on my way.
On the bright side, I helped him get his steps in for today. He will have a healthier heart tomorrow.
Fair enough. Eventually, the guard does return to his post at the outside of the wall. The other one that's watching the door goes to his post, and the one that's making his way around the grounds returns to his slow circuit around.
All right.
So, since we got about 10 minutes left, I'll say that Shokan, you and Edmund had a very peaceful day, in fact, walking around town. The two of you pasted flyers first around the town square. He wanted to go to the armor shop where you met a dwarf and a furbolg, who he speaks to for a few minutes, just telling them about the circus, and he hands each of them a flyer. You make your way to the general store and hand a flyer to a matronly woman who works the shop there, and talks a little bit about what you might be doing there. Are there going to be any snacks, or perhaps you'd be interested in somebody coming in to hawk food while you're performing?
Make some deals.
Yeah. You can probably spend most of your day making a deal with the shopkeeper to send somebody there with some nuts and some popcorn and maybe some cider and things like that to walk around and sell drinks and food during the circus itself. And then you just kind of wander around town, pasting flyers in strategic places in the road where you hope people will see it. You both stay well clear of Portlion's mansion.
Good.
Probably a good idea.
They had the most productive day and did the most for our plan.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah, I have no plans to go there until maybe, possibly, if we sneak it out. And we have to talk about all that first.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it.
Yeah. Eventually, Portlion goes and sits behind his desk. Mildred sits down as well, and the two of them start discussing various things, mostly related to the excavation up at the keep. They never mentioned by name again what they were doing, but that one time. But most of it's speaking more about labor issues. They want to bring in more people, possibly from the nearby villages, to start excavating more, if at all possible. They speak a little bit of Lord Veritude's plan, but they never refer to it in any terms more than that.
Okay.
It's very. I'm guessing it's very like a conversation where I just need a lot of insider knowledge to even get a hint of anything.
Yeah, a little bit. You go ahead. In fact, go ahead and make an insight check, because I don't want to try to riff back and forth between two people having a several-hour conversation. So make an insight check for me.
Insight 19. Can roll good on wisdom. What do you know?
So you get the idea that whatever it is they're excavating, they want it to be dug out sooner. They seem to be expecting something to happen at some point, though they don't reference it by name. You do get the idea that they do know that Edmund is running around somewhere and that he did meet with the king. And while they don't mention Edmund by name, they do make mention that they want to complete whatever it is they're doing before Coltrast finally does return. They do make mention of an event coming up soon, in the next few days, possibly within the next week, that they're planning for. Something Lord Veritude is extremely excited about, and that they want to make sure there is extra security for. They mentioned that one of the Star Knights, Cobblesburn, has left the city, and they expect him to arrive probably within another week and a half. And they hope that Veritude will send him out again to find the villagers they were talking about that they needed. They both seem to be talking about how much they don't want to leave Coltrast, and they don't want to deal with rounding up more peasant scum, that sort of thing. And they hope that Veritude sends Cobblesburn on that when he returns.
Okay.
So Cobblesburn seems to be the runt of the group, then?
Kinda, sorta, yeah.
He didn't get 5-star ratings.
He's a 4-star knight.
The gazer isn't making any eyes at me, is it?
Good question. You've probably been sitting in there for about an hour or so now, and the gazer, for its part, has been kind of just hovering in the room, hovers over to one window, goes down to the next, goes over to the door. I'm going to make a series of perception checks.
Is this are all these walls oh god, are all these walls stone?
They
are.
Yeah. The wall over here, over here, and over here are glass.
All right, those walls, but the wall behind me is
the wall behind
stone.
you is stone.
That is important because I have an escape plan for now. Apparently.
Well, so it's been a minute. It's been about an hour or so now, or actually, it's been longer than that. Because they've been sitting there talking for a while. That's what I described.
Yeah.
So probably about an hour or so after their conversation started, and they had been sitting down. Go ahead and make one more stealth check to see if you can beat his nat 20 for a 24. I'm going to give you a chance to do this. I am going to allow you to roll at advantage because you've had plenty of time to hide. You do not have.
I do not have a pass without trace.
The pass without a trace because it has been well past an hour.
I will say.
What's that?
I can only get it. The highest I can get is 24. So.
And he did get it twice though. What?
Wow. Wow, that's really fucking crazy.
I think he should get it because what are the odds of that?
He rolled it as good as he could possibly have rolled.
Twice in a row.
During the course of that hour and a half that you had been sitting there, I'm going to say that there was one moment when that gazer's gaze swept along the bookshelf that you were hiding under the shelf itself, inside the lip of a book, along its ridge. Those eyes seemed to skitter past, look directly at you, almost as though it was looking directly in your eyes, but then they moved past and kept circling as well. And that was the one time during that hour and a half where you thought it had seen you, but it apparently did not. Because, yeah, you rolled 2 nat 20s on advantage to beat it, and it got a nat 20. You all had the same number. I'm just going to say, yeah, you got really fucking lucky.
Extremely lucky.
Yeah, Jesus.
I'm sweating as much as I can as a spider.
Yeah, and sweating as a spider, I'm going to say that's probably the time you skittered down off the bookshelf and made your way out of the fucking mansion as quickly as you can, not wanting to press your luck.
Nope, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah, yeah. You did not get to map out the entire mansion, but you learned some information, and you did not get seen. So overall, that's a win.
I did not have to put a hole in their mansion. That's nice.
Yeah. And I think that's a great place to end things for today.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was awesome.
Oh, God.
Next week, we kill Portlion.
Next week, we have a circus to perform, and we have whatever you're going to try to do at this mansion.
We have a Portlion to kill. Maybe the Mildred Valcon, too. But tune in next time.
I will let you know as we are leaving this evening, as Blaznir comes scurrying out of that mansion as fast as he can, eventually coming to find the rest of the group. Probably about another hour goes by, just as the sun is starting to get past the noonday, and she does leave, accompanied by her guard, and sets off back towards the upper area of town.
Okay.
And that's where we're going to end. So, thank you to everybody who watched this evening. We had a lot of fun. We learned a lot of things, and holy shit, Blaznir got out of there by the seat of his pants, so that was awesome. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next Monday. Good night.